Welcome into the End of the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's director of simulcasting, Jim Goodman. What a sports day for the state of Kentucky on Saturday with the Wildcats in the Final Four in Indianapolis. And opening weekend at Keeneland, the Central Bank Ashland, and the Toyota Bluegrass on the same day for the first time, along with another grade one, the Madison. So just a spectacular sports day, and make sure you got your Keeneland Select account funded if you're heading up to the Final Four, so you can get some plays in. And let's get to the picks here for race number 6. Starts the all-stakes lineup. There's an all-stakes pick 5 and all-stakes pick 4. Jim, let's start with the grade 1 Madison. Fillies and mares 4 and up, going 7 furlongs. Always a very contentious race. Small field but well-matched group here. How did you see this one?
Yeah, it's only 6 fillies here, but I think you can make a case for almost all of them. I landed on Sam's Sister, the one horse, coming out of the same race as Lady Sibelia and Princess Violet. I looked at that race that was run at Laurel, the Barbara Fritchie, the grade 2, back on February 14th, and she got the worst of the start. She actually went favored there, and I'm thinking that, getting off, Lady Sibelia is almost unbeatable at Laurel. It won 4 in a row there and 6 out of her last 7 or something like that. So I think Lady Sibelia kind of loses the home court advantage if you make a basketball analogy. So here at Keeneland, where neither of them is run, I'm going to give the edge to Sam's Sister. Lady Sibelia, the 4, would be my second choice, and I also use Princess Violet, the 6. Linda Rice takes over this filly from Michael Hushin, and Linda's first trainer, 17%. She's just a nice all-around quality trainer, and I think she may move this horse forward a little bit. So I'm going to give all those 3 a shot. Wedding Toast also has a shot coming out of the grade 3 Rampart at Gulfstream Park. Ran 3rd to house rules, which is certainly no disgrace. So I think you make a case for almost all of them. I'm taking Sam's Sister, the 1 on top.
Pretty much the same analysis for me. I really always pay attention when Hollendorfer ships one across the country, and he did that in the Barbara Fritchie. I picked this horse, and she had some trouble, and she's won 3 of 4 at 7 furlongs, which I always think is a noteworthy stat if you have a horse that likes that kind of tricky 7 furlong distance. Factor in the trouble the last time, maybe with a good trip, she might have been 4 out of 4 at 7 furlongs. So, and they've got Stevens to ride. So Sam's Sister for me, number 1, and I'll use the 3 that you mentioned, the 2, 4, and the 6 in exactas with the 1, Sam's Sister. 7th race, the grade 3 Commonwealth at 7 furlongs. The boys going 4 and up, going the 7 furlong distance. And I settled on Rocket Time. I think he should maybe have the lead to himself, or not much pressure in here. And I picked him last time out at Oaklawn, and it was a speed and then faded right at the last 1/8 of a mile. This horse is 1 for 1 at 7 furlongs at Keeneland, which I like. Calvin Burrell's more of a Churchill guy, but occasionally he'll get to the winner's circle at Keeneland, and I think he may do it here aboard Rocket Time because he's been the regular rider on this horse. I would use him with the 3 Bourbon Courage, the 5 Jessica's Star, and the 7 CZ, who ran well here last fall. What do you like in the Commonwealth?
The first time I went through it, I was exactly like you. I looked at Calvin Burrell on the speed horse. No doubt he's going to get the lead here. I think there's no question that he's going to get the lead. But I went back and took a look at some of the workouts for Bourbon Courage, the 3 horse. And he's been one of the most impressive horses working here in the morning. The last work was on March 30th, 4 furlongs at 47 and 1, and first out of 34 bullet work. And he just looked good doing it. And I'm going to take Bourbon Courage on top. A little bit of a back class edge. Ran in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year and only lost by 2 lengths to work all week. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I think Bourbon Courage has got a big shot here. I would take Rocket Time to get caught at the wire by Bourbon Courage. CZ would be my 3rd choice to 7. Won the Gulfstream Park Sprint last time out at 6.5. And Auto loves 7 furlongs. I'm like you got to find a horse that likes the distance. He hadn't been that distance, but at 6.5 he was pulling away, so you got to like 7. Bourbon Courage, the 3, is my top choice in the Commonwealth.
8th race, the grade 3 Shakertown on the turf at 5.5 furlongs. And we talked about in the Friday podcast that there was a good bit of rain in the forecast. Not much at all mentioned for Saturday. So the turf races should stay on the turf. And the way both of these tracks drain, it shouldn't be much of an issue on the Saturday card. So let's go to the grade 3 Shakertown, 4-year-olds and up at 5.5. And I love these turf sprints, usually big, well-matched fields. How did you see the Shakertown?
Well, if you're a UK fan, how can you not bet the 2-horse, Go Blue or Go Home? I mean, that's a hunch bet. So if nothing else, put 2 across on Go Blue or Go Home because I don't know that he's got a shot, but he'll probably get the lead from the 2-hole. Either the 1 or the 2 may get the lead. But Go Blue or Go Home would be my hunch play. But if I put serious money, I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to use Power Alert to 10 for Brian Lynch coming in off a great race at Gulfstream. Got up over Amelia's Wild Ride and has beaten that horse twice in a row, and I'm going to take Amelia's Wild Ride second. I think they could do the exact again. The 10 and the 11. The 13 is my other horse that I like. Undrafted, it was really well thought of last year, and they run him on the turf, and they took him on the dirt, and he looks like he likes the turf better. Might be a little bit short for him, but he ran well at Churchill last May in turf sprint at 5 furlongs. So I'm going to say undrafted with Velasquez has a real shot. But I'm going to go all outside here, probably box the 10, 11, 13. May throw the 2 in there just for good luck. Go Blue or Go Home.
I'm pretty much with you there. Undrafted is the one I'm picking. Wesley Ward always has his horses ready for Keeneland. Really good off the layoff, and so I think he can have this one ready. That is a question, certainly, coming off the layoff, but I think Ward's numbers are such that I can take a shot with undrafted with some confidence. I think he has maybe a little class edge over the rest, other than maybe tight end Touchdown, who I'll use in there. Also, the 2 you mentioned, Power Alert and Amelia's Wide Ride. So 13 is my pick, undrafted, and I'll use them with 10, 11, and 12, and use all 4 of those in the all-stakes pick 4 that we'll get to here shortly because I don't think there's a clear standout here. The 9th race is the Grade 1 Central Bank Ashland for 3-year-old fillies at a mile and a 16th, a prep for the Kentucky Oaks on Derby weekend. And I went up with the 6, Lovely Maria. She improved when she stretched out around 2 turns for Larry Jones. A little bit wide in the last one, and the horse that beat her, I'm a Chatterbox, says may well be the favorite for the Oaks. She's just been tearing it up down at the fairgrounds. Broke her maiden here at Keeneland last fall. So Lovely Maria caught a really good one last time. Don't know if there's anybody that good in here. So I'm going to try Lovely Maria, the 6. Peace and War, I will use with her, the horse that won the Darley Alcibiades last fall. Talked to her trainer, Ollie Stevens, at the draw on Tuesday, and he said, it's certainly not uncommon to bring one off a layoff in England, and so he thinks she's ready to go. And I'll use Lovely Maria with the 3, Peace and War, and the 4, Angela Renee out of the Pletcher barn. But number 6, Lovely Maria, is my pick for the Central Bank Ashland. How about you?
Boy, I hate to do this. I'm going to exactly the same as you. And I wrote down Larry Jones seems to have a strong hand in Lovely Maria. He's got a shot at having 2 of the top 3 or 4 fillies in the Oaks if she wins this, because I'm a Chatterbox. Was very impressive in the Rachel Alexander and came back and won the Fairground Oaks last weekend. Maybe not as impressive, but I talked to somebody, some of their connections, and they were very impressed the way she galloped out. So I'm a Chatterbox, probably will be the Oaks favorite. But I think if Lovely Maria runs back to her last race, she's right there. So I'm going to take Lovely Maria on top. Peace and War, it's a big job to come off that layoff and come back in a Grade 1. And I know they run differently over in England, but I would think that this horse would need this race and would not be at Lovely Maria's level, but the Europeans fool us sometimes. And Angela Renee is the back class that she was very highly regarded as a 2-year-old. She was one of the favorites in the juvenile fillies, and she had a useful prep race in the Rachel Alexander, so she may move forward. But I'm going to take the same 3 horses you did with Lovely Maria on top.
10th race, the Grade 1 Toyota Bluegrass. Moved up a week to give the trainers a little more time to get their horse prepared for the Kentucky Derby. And it's 3-year-olds at a mile and an 1/8, and you've got a horse in here in Carpe Diem that if he wins, certainly impressively, could vie for favoritism in the Derby, or at least be certainly among the top contenders. Can you beat Carpe Diem in the Bluegrass?
I don't think so. I think if you got even money, it would be a bargain. I think Carpe Diem may be as good a bet to win the Bluegrass, maybe a little better bet than Kentucky over Wisconsin that night. So I think Carpe Diem is the class of the race. I'm interested to see how classy class the 7 runs for Kieran McLaughlin. In the Gotham, he didn't really have a great trip. It caught a muddy track. Don't know that he was crazy about the inner track at Aqueduct anyway. But they think a lot of him, and I think that he's got a shot to move up, but he's got to move up a whole lot to challenge Carpe Diem. I'm also taking a shot that Danzig Moon will just didn't like Tampa. If you draw a line through that last race, and based on his maiden win and his runs at Churchill last year, I think he's got a shot. He's got some experience over the track, and Mark Cassey gets him ready. So I'm going to take Carpe Diem on top. I'm going to play him with Classy Class and Denzik Moon. One of those two should go the lead, but Carpe Diem coming down the stretch will be, I think, a rather impressive sight here. I actually had somebody, I wanted to tell you a story. I had somebody who emailed me a couple of days ago and said, do you guys have a contingency plan for the NCAA? I guess he thought we were not going to run the Bluegrass if Kentucky was in the Final Four. But we are running the Bluegrass. It's at 6 o'clock, and at least UK plays at 8:49.
Sure.
So you got plenty of time to catch the Bluegrass wherever you are, either on TV, on NBC Sports, and bet it on Keeneland Select, or come out to the track and then go to your favorite place to watch the UK game. You'll just miss part of the JV game between Duke and Michigan State.
NBC Sports does have live coverage of the Bluegrass and the Ashland and the other Derby preps as part of their coverage with Tom Hammond and the rest of the Kentucky crew, Mike Battaglia, Donna Barton Brothers, Kenny Rice, etc. on that telecast. And we would again remind you to keep your Keeneland Select account funded especially if you're heading up to the Final Four, so you can play some of these great races while you're getting ready for the game. I can't go against Carpe Diem. I like to pick against favorites, but not here. Very impressive 3-year-old debut. I thought maybe he could be a little short down there at Tampa on that deep track, and he couldn't have been more impressive with a 98 buyer. I like to see horses that run their lifetime best first time out of the box as a 3-year-old, which he did. And the fact that he won at Keeneland last fall in the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, so you know he likes the track. So Carpe Diem for me. For a price, I think Fremento is interesting. Ran decently here last fall for Zito. They're switching to Gary Stevens. Each race been a little bit better. I think the longer the better for this horse. In the last race, he was third behind Upstart and the horse that they got moved up on the DQ down in Florida. I think that's a sneaky horse. If the price is really floats up a little bit, then you could, if he could run in the second hole behind Carpe Diem, could be a decent exacta. So Carpe Diem the pick for me in the Grade 1 Toyota Bluegrass. I want to look at it all stakes pick 4, which starts in the 7th race, and I'm going to use Rocket Time and Bourbon Courage. I think it's one of those two. I'll use all 4 that I mentioned in the Shakertown, 13, 12, 11, 10. The Ashland, I'll use Lovely Maria, Peace and War, and Angela Renee, and then single Carpe Diem. How about you?
I would use 4 in the first leg, the 1, 3, 4, 7. I got it all, Bourbon Courage, Rocket Time, and CZ. By 3, the 10, 11, 13, Power Alert, Amelia's Wild Ride, and Undrafted. I go too deep in the Ashland with Peace and War, the 3, and Lovely Maria, the 6. And I go too deep in the Bluegrass. Just in case Carpe Diem has an off day, I would go 5 Carpe Diem and 7 Classy Class. It's a $24 ticket. And also, don't forget, if you want to go a race earlier and single Sam's Sister in the Madison, you can do an all-stakes pick 5 that might multiply your winnings. So that would be a $24 ticket. The all-stakes pick 5 starts in the 6th race, and the all-stakes pick 4 starts in the 7th.
And with the dirt track that debuted last fall, you've got bigger stables in here from guys like Pletcher, Kieran McLaughlin, Zito, and the last race, the 11th, worth taking a look at because it's a maiden race. You've got 3 first-time starters, including one from the Stone Street barn that Pletcher trains. So that'll be an interesting race to watch for prospects that you might keep an eye on later in the spring and summer on some of the big races. There's probably a stake horse or 2 or more in that group. Keep your Keeneland Select account funded, and we'll be doing a podcast every racing day of the spring meet. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and it's the In the Money podcast. This is KeenelandSelect.com.